We're just coming up to the hour. Today's topic is video in the contact center, and delighted today to be joined by three speakers, all experts in the field. I'm Jonty Pearce. I'm editor of Call Center Help and acting as today's moderator. We're joined by Luke Talbot from Azuri. Luke is well known on our webinars. I think the last one we talked about was about multi-channel.
It was, yes.
A few months ago, which was very well attended. Also delighted to be joined and say hello to Karen Steveley from Shoe. Hello, Karen.
Hi, Jonty.
Karen runs the contact center for Shoe, the shoe retailer, and has been using video for a little while in the contact center, and has got some good feedback there. And also Nigel Thomas from technology company V24. They make some of the video chat technology, and have probably got more video customers, I think, than any other supplier as we speak today. So welcome to you, Nigel.
Thank you, Jonty.
So in terms of housekeeping, just a reminder, you can dial into the chat room. We'll come to that in a minute. You can leave tips and questions into the chat room, and we have a bottle of champagne for the best tip or question we've got today. I expect we'll get more questions than tips today, because it's a sort of a unknown area for a lot of people. If you do want to watch a replay, that's on the same link as you've dialed in today. I know a lot of you do like to share these webinars with your teams, and I think this one might be a very good one to watch the replay for. And the white paper will be sent out to you following the webinar. So the chat room, if you're not logged in already, is callcenterhelper.com/chat. No commercial messages around, and only send web addresses or emails through the direct message function. And when you're logged into it, you can get a copy of the slides by clicking on this link on the right-hand side. So we've logged into the chat room. I'd like everyone who's logged into the chat room, and if you're not, please do so. In one or two words, could you describe where you are on your video journey? So for instance, are you investigating? Are you deploying? Are you already using video in your contact center? Or what's your view of video in the contact center? Do you think it's a mature technology? So we're seeing that Johnny is investigating, Fiona is investigating, as is Tasha. Mohammed's actually using video in your contact center. Be interested to hear more. Livia's investigating, as is Luis, Robert, Ruth, Brian, Keith, Leandra, Neris, and Matthew. So we've got, I think it's fair to say, most of the audience here are looking at what it brings. Ada says, we don't have it. We will see what the future brings. I hope to talk with my boss about introducing it. And Ian has said investigating. So that's very interesting. Now, I'd like to understand what channels it is that you already operate within your contact center. So I'm just putting a poll up. This is on the panel on the right-hand side of the screen. So which channels are you operating today? Is it voice, web chat, email, social media, or video chat? So if you'd just like to, I think you can select all that apply in that. So if you'd just like to hit on the appropriate button. So which channels are you offering today? How widespread, Luke, do you think web chat is going to be in this?
Okay, well here's a pop quiz, I guess. It's usually between the 9 to 15% mark, I think, in these kinds of polls. So I'm going to take a stab and say that we've got quite an advanced audience because they're looking at video. So I would say we're around the 20% mark. Now I'm going to be proven completely wrong, I'm sure.
Okay, well let's share the results up on the screen. And maybe I'm not sure if people can vote on all the options on this, but voice is there, 21% web chats.
I should definitely get a lottery ticket this weekend.
I'm not sure if you're watching the reflection in my glasses. I can see the scores as it comes through. 2% video chat, Nigel. That's sort of probably in line with where I'd say the market is. Possibly maybe even more like 1%, I'd guess.
No, I think that's a fair representation, yes.
Okay, great. Well, so we've got some interesting results there. So what I'd like to now do is I'd like to introduce to you Luke Talbot from Azuri. and Luke is going to present a presentation, an overview of where the state of video is in the contact center today. So Luke, if you'd like to just pop your slides up on the screen, and there we are. Luke.
Thank you, Jonty. Okay, so I'm just going to take maybe the first part of this webinar just to go over a bit of an overview of where videos come from and more or less where we are and where we think it's going to go. And I guess the statement I'm making up front is video is finally about to take off. Finally, in brackets. We've been saying it's about to take off for the last 10 years, I think. So let's find out a bit more.
Yeah, in fact, we wrote an editorial 5 years ago called the most flopped call center technologies.
Absolutely.
And 5 years ago, video was top of that list, but I think that that is now starting to change.
I think there's definitely a turnaround about to happen. So I'm not going to stake my career on it, but let's see what we get out of today. So I guess if there's one thing that Hollywood has taught us is that our ambition is definitely focused on video. It's introducing that extra dimension to our communication with people who aren't in front of us. We've been dealing with phone calls now for well over 100 years, and so I think, going back decades, we've been trying to see the future as it's going to be video. We're going to be able to see people, and there's just a couple of screenshots here. One from Back to the Future 2, everyone's favorite film, and one from the Jetsons. So it's just to show that every time we look at the future, we think about video being there. Now the reality is obviously quite different, and we'll cover that in a moment. And we have had a lot of false starts. So the technology world has been battling fervently to try and fix this problem about getting face-to-face communication ever since the technology started to emerge. Ever since we had cameras and screens that we could package alongside telephones, we've been trying to do this. And there's a wide array of technology that we've been presented with over the years. So whether it's normal desk phones with video cameras built in, one of the downsides being normally the screens aren't very good, the cameras tend to be quite small and low resolution. Things like a full-blown Skype phone that you might have at home, and again similar limitations. It's not very portable. Going to on the right-hand side, just a picture there of a mobile phone from a few years ago with clearly a photoshopped picture of somebody on the screen because the quality would never have been that good. And going through a few other solutions there, and to maybe some slightly far-out technology on the right-hand side, which is some kind of a head-worn glasses virtual reality kit. Now, these things all look, very, very funny when we look at them now, but actually, if you look at the one at the bottom right and you think about what Google are doing with Google Glass, the ability to build video into a screen that you're actually wearing all the time, you start to see where this sort of thing is going. Now, the interesting thing about all of this is none of it is really as interesting as the reality that we're actually faced with. So video is absolutely a part of our everyday lives. We've got top left-hand corner, we've got FaceTime, which was introduced by Apple a few years ago, and estimated something like, I think it's between 100 and 200 million devices around the world that support FaceTime. So that's a lot of potential end users who have technology at their fingertips to do FaceTime. Whether or not they do is another question, and there are various articles online, a particular case study by AT&T, which is quite interesting about how they were complaining that their network simply wasn't ready for everybody to start doing FaceTime at the same time. And then we've got bottom left-hand corner, which is a very interesting case study as well, is Amazon's Mayday button. So packaging video as a completely free customer service option onto every tablet that they were selling at the time for that particular range is quite a bold move, and we'll look into that in a bit more detail in a moment. But also there's other sides to video. Video is something that we do every single day, whether we access it online, etc., such as on the right-hand side we've got YouTube. YouTube is accessible as an application on almost every smartphone, smart device that's being sold at the moment, but also through the majority of smart TVs. Now, whether anyone's actually accessing video on their TV is another question, but we can always, we'll see what happens in a few years' time. So really, the reality that's emerging is much more fluid, much more seamless than we may have imagined it was going to be. We're not looking at dedicated hardware to do this. We're just looking at much more combined, converged technology that's going to enable this to happen. It's a reality for consumers every single day. For customers, maybe we should call ourselves rather than consumers. So there are more than 100 hours of video uploaded to YouTube, and that's not every day. That's every minute. So every single minute, there's an extra 100 hours of video on YouTube, which is huge. Now that means obviously we're all professional film stars and professional film directors, but it also means that we're consuming this. People aren't putting most of this data on there just to never be watched. They're sharing it with their friends, their family, and a lot of these videos have quite a wide audience as well. More than 1 billion YouTube visits per month. That makes it absolutely in the top 5 websites on the planet, pretty much every single day, along with Google. Google obviously owns YouTube, so I guess you can make your assessment of how much Google actually own the internet at the moment. And Amazon Mayday, which we mentioned earlier, the average response time SLA, they originally set to be 15 seconds. So when you think about what a bold move this is, you're shipping tens of millions of devices, hopefully, to your customers. And most of those devices are pretty much being sold at cost. They're hoping that you're going to buy content through them, and that's what's going to be their major revenue there. Setting an SLA to respond to video from all these devices in 15 seconds is incredibly bold. The interesting thing is just after Christmas, they announced they'd not only hit the 15-second SLA, but they'd smashed it. They'd gone in at 9 seconds, which is phenomenal, especially considering most people who got a tablet with the function probably tried it just to see what happened. The other thing, obviously, is video downloading, uploading, and streaming accounts now for 26% of traffic over 4G. So we know that when we give people the network speeds and the bandwidth and the technology to access video, it's one of their preferred methods of accessing content. And whether that is pre-recorded videos, things like through YouTube, for instance, or other, YouTube accounts for more than half of that 26%. So obviously YouTube's still a big part, but there's a lot of streaming there as well, and that there's no reason why that can't be live customer service. So why has it taken so long? Well, technology takes time to perfect, and I know I'm not alone in having a box of wires and cables and extension leads and old webcams and all these sorts of things at home that I don't want to throw away just in case there's a need for it, which there probably won't be. So technology does take a while to perfect, and now we're seeing a lot of these things are really packaged and very easy to access, both for customers and end users, but also for companies. So it's much easier now for companies to access very well packaged technology that specializes in this with HD video, etc. Video does take bandwidth, but over time our access to video has improved, bandwidth has improved, and fundamentally the compression that we use on video now is perfected. So you've got people like YouTube, for instance, with their dynamic bandwidth control, where it can be very high bandwidth, very low bandwidth, and it will self-adjust so that you get hopefully constant video. The other reason it has taken so long to pick up in a customer service environment is simply we don't always want to be seen. And I think when we first started to look at video in the contact center, there was this assumption that it would be two-way video, that it would be whites of the eyes, would be looking at each other face to face. And I think that's simply not the case. Most of the time I'm having a bad hair day, and I certainly wouldn't want all the businesses I deal with seeing my living room every day. So really the ability to have just one-way video has probably been a bit of an advance there. Okay, so very quickly before we move on to some actual to looking at some examples of how this has been deployed. What are the issues for contact centers? And they're fairly basic ones, but they're ones that we really need to bear in mind. So reporting and blending, probably two big ones. If we deploy video as a sort of add-on to the contact center, bolt-on on the side, which it would tend to be now, how are we reporting on that, making sure that we're still getting the most out of our agents, we don't have people just sitting there waiting for something to come through, but also that if it does get very busy, how do we bring more people in, how do we make sure that they're utilized and that we're providing a good SLA. Hoax callers, I know I'm not the only one who, as soon as he heard about this webinar, went onto people's websites to have a look at video and play around, and I had no intention of, buying any of the products, but I certainly wanted to see how it was working. So, that could be interesting. Also, giving agents access to the same content as customers, absolutely essential. It's important that not only from a customer service point of view, the agent can see what the customer is doing on the website, but also if we're talking about YouTube and the customer is accessing YouTube channels, that the agents know what's on the YouTube channels, they know the contents, and they can push customers to it or react to it if the customer calls in. And also things like YouTube comments and social media. Video is often, especially when it's being accessed after the video has been recorded, so pre-recorded video is often tagged alongside social media. So being able to react to what people say about it, if we push a video out there, sort of self-help video or frequently asked questions video, how quickly can we respond to somebody commenting underneath saying, this is great, this isn't great, etc. So we need to make sure this is all unified and actually it's coming into the contact center as part of a whole. Okay, so that's a good introduction, I guess, from about what we think about video.
Wonderful, thank you for that. And I thought we were picking up the picture of the cat video as describing that that was what the internet was invented for, was cat videos.
It is mostly videos of cats, I think. Yeah.
But certainly it has meant that we've all got more bandwidth and more capabilities for that. We're going to jump to a poll now, and then we'll take a few questions and tips from the audience. And the poll is, what barriers do you have to deploying video? You can vote. Apologies on the last one, you were only able to vote on one. You can vote on as many of these as you think are likely to be an issue for you. So what barriers do you have to deploying video in your contact center? So the answers are new technology, management buy-in, floor space or needing video booths, something like that, buy-in from your agents, or just a general skill set issue you'd have to retrain for, because I guess we're all used to chatting on the phone. We've just got the hang of typing with 2 fingers on our web chats. So let's have a look at what the issues are coming through. Nigel, how much of an issue do you think new technology is going to be?
In terms of
the poll results.
New technology, I don't have the answer to that.
Okay, well let's have a look and see what the results are coming up. So of our audience, in terms of barriers to deploying deploying video, certainly the biggest is indeed new technology. Then we're followed skills, quite an interesting one there. Management buy-in, and it'd be quite interesting. We'll be going to Karen in a short while to see how you manage to deal with management buy-in. Floor space and agent buy-in, so quite a range there. Nigel, do you think the technology is a significant barrier these days?
I see what you're saying now. Yes,
yeah.
It is a problem. Yes, actually meeting people over video, the technology, say for instance on a camcorder, yeah, on a PC, is just not got the quality that you require. And also you look like you could be in a goldfish bowl, for instance, and when you're actually representing a company profile, that's not the type of look that you want. So the technology is really important. You need eye-to-eye contact with the customer as well. If you've got the right equipment, then you will be able to look at what the customer's looking at on their screens. Yeah. A little bit like you would do in an autocue situation in a news room. So yes, the technology is paramount. Certain things as well within call centers is that when you're on video, you definitely need on-air lights. You cannot be disturbed when you're actually talking directly with the customer. Yeah. So yeah, the actual barrier to entry with technology is a key problem. Yeah.
Indeed. Well, let's have a look at some of the tips or questions from the audience. We're going to start with a couple of questions about location. Do you need a special special room for video or chat in the call center, says Amy. And on a similar basis, Ada says, when you think about video chat, you have to think about a lot of things: clothes, background noise, quality of video, etc. How do you arrange the workspace for customer service representatives to deliver the best quality for video chat? So, Karen, I don't know if you've got any thoughts about, presumably you can't just do this on the floor.
Yeah, I mean, for us, there might seem as if you need a lot of these things, but actually our video team sit exactly alongside our representatives that are on the telephone and doing emails. You don't need to have a separate room. There isn't a lot of background noise. You just maybe need to kind of watch what colour you wear, depending on maybe say your background. We know there are certain colours of clothing that can drain the colour from your face, such as whites and black colours of clothing. But I think it's actually really quite simple, and you don't need a lot of space to make it happen.
Probably good lighting is also probably has a bearing on that as well, I'd guess. Johnny asks, what percentage of contact centres use video chat currently, and how has this changed over the last 5 years? Luke, do you have a view on that?
Sorry, what was the question?
What percentage of contact centres use video currently, and how has this changed over the last 5 years?
It's got to be very, very small at the moment. I think we're talking about maybe 1 to 2% of contact centres are probably deploying video.
Yeah.
But it is one of those things that it's a technology that I think people want, and so it's going to increase.
I think when I started on this, I'd only knew, on this journey at New Year, I only knew of about 3. I'm now up to 24 on my list of organizations I've found so far, so that surprised me. I thought it was much more in its infancy than it was. Lynn says, which organizations have you seen in the UK and Europe using Google Helpouts or Google Hangouts for real-time video? I've got no idea on that. I did an investigation help out with a guy there from Google, quite interesting. They've got a try out help out channel. He didn't seem to think there were many apart from a few consultancies on there. Nigel, your view on how widespread that's become?
Yeah, some of the tools like, for instance, Skype and Google Helpouts and Google Hangouts, etc., are great as long as you don't need a download. So any barrier that you put in front of a customer to actually engage is going to be a problem. So the actual ability to be able to work on every browser is important, and also for it to be immediate, so you actually put straight through to an operator. So although these tools have been around for a long time, they're not particularly successful on a larger scale. For Skype, for instance, you need to ask for someone's permission to actually engage with them, and they have to download as well. So yeah, it's to give it to a broad audience. Some of those tools aren't great.
Right. Okay. So across to Karen now. Karen runs the contact center for Shoe, and which is a retail organization selling shoes. So Karen, would you like to tell us a little bit about how you're using video in your contact center?
Yes, hi everyone. So as Jonty said, thanks Jonty. My name is Karen Steasley and I'm the Customer Service Manager for Shoe Limited. I'm going to talk to you for a few minutes just about our experience with using video chat in our contact centre. Firstly, I thought I'd let you know about some background on why we are where we are today. We launched Live Help in October 2011. Some of the main objectives were to bring the in-store experience to online, basically bring a service face to the website. Our customers can contact us in many ways, and we believe extending the service offered to our customers could only improve the customer experience. And we also want the ability to reply instantly to customer queries by giving them some real-time responses. Okay, so hopefully some of you will have seen it, possibly tried it, but in case you haven't, here is how Live Help sits on shoe.co.uk. We have a floating tab which sits to the right-hand side of the page, and the tab is displayed throughout the whole site 24/7. We also proactively send a series of nudges to the customer who are browsing the site like this. We also have a direct link and a sign-off in our email to our customers where if they click it, they can connect a member of the team straight away. What does it actually do? The customer connects to a live video operator in real time. We offer a one-way or two-way video option for the customer. This means that the customer can see the operator, but the operator can't see the customer. If the customer does choose two-way, they can connect via the webcam and have an engagement face-to-face, which is actually, as Luke was saying, not everybody, two-way is not for everybody. Like if you have a bad hair day, look, I'm sure you don't have a bad hair day, I'm sure your hair's very nice. Once connected, the customer and the operator enter an co-browsing session, which basically they're sharing the website and the operator can navigate the site for the customer. We can assist throughout the whole buying process, from picking products to ensuring the customer can complete the purchase and the checkout. And we also provide a text chat option like web chat for customers who prefer it. Just as I mentioned, we do have a text chat option for customers too. However, it's important to point out at this stage that the preferred option for our customers is really video. It really is different strokes for different folks. As you can see, we have a 75%, 25% split in favour of video chat. Our customers connect to us for many reasons, but one of the most popular is general product information such as materials, sizing advice, or sometimes even a closer look. This is Mary, she's one of our operators. The image on the right shows Mary holding products with the camera so the customer can see them better. The image below is what the customer would see at this point while they were on the website, and this is fairly common and definitely brings the in-store experience likes to online.
And is that, would you say, one of your most frequently asked questions is to, can I see a pair of the shoes?
It can be. We're very fortunate that we sit alongside our warehouse, so it can be one of many ones, yeah.
Very good.
We're also available to answer customers' queries such as returns information, different delivery options, Like I said previously, we connect in the checkout when the customer has problems with payments, and this helps reduce checkout abandonment, which obviously in turn increases sales. But having the ability to serve our customers in this way helps us engage with our customers and helps personalise the shopping experience. It's important that at Schuh we believe in giving our customers an easy experience, whether it's easy buying experience and equally an easy aftercare experience. This means we want to make it easy for our customers to contact us should they need to. We want to make ourselves available on whatever platform the customer chooses to contact us on. So like other contact centres out there, we have our platforms which are really traditional as in calls and emails, but now we've got the mix of the immediateness of social media and obviously live help. This chart shows the split between these channels, and as you can see, live help is the most popular. Live help and social media have increased year on year, proving that immediate response is what the customer wants, and providing them with this can only improve the customer experience when they're engaging with the Schuh brand. Having the ability to serve our customers in real time has been fantastic for us. We offer a point of difference in service, we convert our customers, and we increase sales. Live help converts 4 times better than desktop, and the average order value is 10% higher. Currently, we have 17 desks, and we'll continue to expand this year. In October 2011, when we launched, we started with 3. Our team finds it really easy to use, and the feedback from our customers is really positive. At the end of every engagement, the customer is asked to rate and comment on the experience, and I thought I would leave you with some of their comments. I've used many interactive online assistance helplines in the past, but I must say the experience I had with Emma tonight was fab. The use of the webcam was great, and it was actually like being in the shop and asking questions. Emma was very helpful and quick, a good service, and I purchased the item tonight. Very impressed, excellent service. I was pleasantly surprised that Schuh employs someone nearly at 9 PM on a Monday night. Absolutely excellent service. I've actually never experienced such straightforward, friendly, useful customer service. Mary's excited to your company. And as I said, it's different strokes for different folks. We have had, obviously you can't please everybody, and maybe everybody's not ready for video, and according to this customer, Rob was rubbish and we should sack him. But I will leave you now knowing that Rob's very much in employment, and thanks for listening.
Thank you very much for that, Karen. I think that's absolutely fascinating. And I must admit, I did a sort of bit of a hoax call into Schuh to test out the service, and I got to say it was very good. Karen, if anyone did want to have a go on that, is there a sort of question they can? Obviously not now. Is there a question they can dial in and ask of your
anybody can call in at any point. It's not a problem. We do,
okay,
like
wonderful.
you said, we do have a lot of you do have people trying it out. You do have we've done a presentation at ETL last year, which spurs on quite a lot of interest. As Luke was saying, it is a small minority of contact centres using the technology. So when people hear about it, it is interesting, and people do want to try it out. So we do get that. We had a few retailers last week trying it out also. So it's probably the best. The one thing I would say is don't make up that you're someone else. Just say who you are, and we'll be more than happy to help.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much for that. So that's absolutely great there. We've got a few questions for you now, Karen. So we'll just jump across to a few questions from the audience and a few observations. First of all, Lynn has said that no downloads are required for Google Helpouts. Actually, I think there is may not be a download. I think there's a small plug-in that you need to do. Certainly, I needed to on my scheme. Johnny says, I think price would be a significant barrier for some clients. Presumably, Karen, you said with a 4 times conversion rate, the price presumably wasn't a massive factor for you.
Well, we didn't know that to begin with. We set out with actually what we ended up with isn't what we set out to have. We wanted to. It's very much a customer service tool. And for a way for customers to contact us and just be really up to date with tech. But what we got at the end product was it actually makes sales and it converts better. So now we don't have so much of an issue with getting management buy-in for an expansion because it really does, it pays for itself and more.
Wonderful, excellent. Mohammed's made a tip and has said that we've a dedicated room with branded background and a sort of uniform for CSRs. I guess probably needing a logo, great big logo press, across the front of the T-shirt would be would be quite useful. And you've got a background. I think there's a swirly shoe background behind your.
Yeah.
And
one of the reasons that well, Shoe as a company are all about individuality, and we encourage that we're a fashion retailer, so we encourage like our team to be like quite individual. So they're not required to wear any form of uniform. However, our video agents don't just do video; they multitask. Our desks are built as workstations, so our video team can take video, they can do calls, they can do text chat, they can do emails, they do social media. So it's very much of a workstation, therefore it works quite well to all be in the one room.
Wonderful. Beverly sent us a question, I'm not sure how is this going to be your answer. How are companies managing compliance and interaction recording of video technologies? Are there any risks to be aware of? Nigel, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, there's a number of banking institutes that need to be able to record the videos as well as the text, and for PCI compliance. So, you know, the technologies that anyone's using really need to have those kind of features.
Yeah, and certainly there was a question further down that said, is anyone in the banking or financial sector using video chat?
Yeah, the largest, one of the largest banks in the world, Deutsche Bank, are using it with their Postbank brand. So they're meeting customers, private customers, with their banking needs. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, excellent. Excellent news. We'll take one more question for Karen, and then we'll come back to questions in a little bit. Have Shoe adjusted the way they recruit staff? Do you recruit specially to use a video advisor? Karen, have you had to change your recruitment?
One thing for us is, and anybody out there who runs a contact centre would realise that a contact centre has to deal more or less with problem solving, whereas now we've had to deal with being able to problem solve at the same time being able to turn our team into like sales representatives as well. So we don't recruit differently, we just train them. We just train differently.
Ah, very good, very good. So yeah, quite similar skill, but it's just something else to be aware of. And we've had a comment in from Sean, who says that Nationwide are currently rolling out video as well in their organisation. So I'm delighted now to introduce across to you Nigel Thomas from V24. Nigel actually made the technology that Karen is using. So Nigel, if you'd like to run through an overview of how the technology works, would be great.
Absolutely, no problem at all. We've just put a quick agenda together just to explain a little bit about what is live video engagement. And a look at really the companies that are serving their customers with video in today's world, a demonstration of the customer experience, a case study, and operator interface. You know, what does the operator sit behind, and how do they work with the customer, and how to introduce live video engagement to customers. You know, what's the best practice of actually talking to customers. Firstly, you know, video engaging is the ability to be able to put the equipment into call centers or businesses, which will allow their operators to meet customers on websites. And it doesn't matter which device that those customers need to be on, that they need to be served in the same way. And once they've actually engaged with those customers, the ability to co-browse and take people to offline content, different web pages, and different product is essential, as well as staying on top of the page with the customer. This is an example of how DFS are using the tech. It's a very short video. Hopefully we can see this together.
We've given online shopping a personal touch, because when you're looking for the perfect sofa, there are some questions only an actual person can answer. From the comfort of your own home, you can now talk with one of our live chat team by instant message, a one-way face chat, so you can see them but they can't see you. Or if you want to talk face-to-face, just switch on your webcam. Our live chat team are trained to give advice on everything, from how to apply for interest-free credit to choosing the right sofa for your space.
Ooh, that one's nice. Have you got it in blue?
They can even show you what's on the screen using our co-browsing feature. You don't even have to lift a finger. So why not click in for a chat? The service is free, easy to use, and available 7 days a week. It's a bit like visiting our store, but without having to put your shoes on. Shopping online has never been so comfortable. DFS, making every day more comfortable.
It's just worth pointing out some of the slowness on that video is actually because it's coming through our GoToWebinar video platform, so it is a bit more jolty than it is in real life.
Okay, cool. And some of the companies around the world that are using the technology are on the screen now. Some highlights really. Amazon have launched with Mayday. They're advertising that very strongly on the TV, quite strong in the automotive area where customers are going online and building cars with customers, so they're building the perfect car for them. And then in utilities, helping out with the bills and questions in those areas. So basically, in video, we're in pretty good company. As far as the demonstration goes, you can see that it was pretty jilted when we were just playing the video before, so unfortunately we can't play a video over this technology. However, if you go to any of our customers or v24.com, and Karen's kindly said that you can get an engagement offline, then we'd be delighted to show you the tech. In DFS, they've been live 2 years. It delivers incremental sales. They will only meet people on product placement, so it looks to see where a customer is around their website. If they're on a product, i.e. a settee, then it looks to see whether an operator is available, and if an operator is available, it offers the customer help. So it only offers customers help when there's agents there. They have a team of around about 40 agents. There's a picture on this slide of their call center. It's creating about a 29% sales incremental, and that's where they ask the customer after they bought the sofas or the product, you know, what made them buy, and 29% of customers said that they came to ask a quick question and ended up buying. So they can see it's incremental business. 15% in lift in average order value, so there's an upsell, and the NPS, Net Promoter Score, is high. You'll notice in this photo that there's each of the operators, and when we're looking at with Karen and Shu, have equipment on their desks, and you'll see also that each of the operators has a unit with a light on it. So as a customer comes in to ask for help, this light flashes, and when they're actually in an engagement, that light stays on. And you'll see just underneath the light that there's a high definition camera. So the operator is able to, we'll look at the operator interface in a minute, but the operator is able to control the camera from their screen. This means where they're doing shift patterns, or you've got a tall person, a small person using the same equipment, or it's a dark or light day, that all can be adjusted through the system. And you can see also that there's lighting on the front of this unit, which just gives key lighting for the customer, so the customer's looking at the operator in the best light. Probably the biggest thing to the media towers is the fact that the camera is directly above the screen that the operator is looking at. And the operator is looking at that screen because on that screen it works as an auto cue, so we can put prompts, but also it shows the screen that the customer is looking at their home. And the benefit of that is that the operator maintains eye contact with the customer, which is really important. Some other areas where video is being engaged away from websites is PCA Finance, for instance, in Netherlands. PCA are actually putting advisors, financial advisors, from a call center available online within the dealerships themselves. So when a customer's in the dealership looking for finance products, the sales guys can take them over to an expert, and the expert can help them select the right product. Vodafone is installed in Milton Keynes, where the technical team are actually helping fix devices in store. And the performance metrics, video chat users are often 6 times more likely to convert, so it's a very, very high conversion rate. And an average order value increase of up to 35%. And typically our average NPS scores across client is 76%. I think Shu are way ahead of that, and the average customer experience again is very high at 96%. Every engagement is has a survey following it to ask the customer their thoughts, and these are some of the customers that are using it. Isabella Oliver is quite interesting, as they're using the system to where customers can actually book an appointment with a stylist, and once they're engaged into that conversation. The stylist can present product a little bit like Shoe. Karen showed earlier with Shoe holding up shoes, etc., serving directly to the customer in their home. Opportunities for contact centres. The general public are now really getting used to being assisted through video. 20% of customers are selecting video over text chat. That's typically across our client base. Video delivers a higher quality of leading edge channel for call centres to offer to their customers. In other words, we're really using the same teams but being able to get a better return for the same people. Reduced average call handling times with the co-browse. We're finding that because the operator can actually take the customer directly to what they require, then the speed of actually being able to serve them increases because they're both on the same page with the customer. And typically, first-time resolution when in the case of where it's being used in customer services. Higher order value than telephone, text, or any other call center channel with the same headcount, increasing revenue for call centers and a higher ROI for their clients. This is a little look of how it may seem with the operator. The operators, in this picture, you can see the actual software itself. In the middle, on the screen, you can see how the operator can push pages and have canned messages ready to be able to serve the visitor. And also, you can see the on-air light and also front monitor, which means the actual maintenance of eye contact with customers. Some of the ways that clients are using the systems are being able to push opportunities through all different media sources. For instance, in Lexus in Germany, they have email campaigns that they send out in batch to customers that have had a car for, say, 2 to 3 years. And then from that email, they go directly into an engagement. I mentioned earlier Postbank. Postbank, again, are doing the same, where they're actually inviting their personal online customers to actually meet assistants and be served. And this is quite interesting from DFS. DFS were finding they were spending an awful lot of money on AdWords, and rather than just sending a customer directly to an internet site which is flat and no one there, they're sending them to an internet site with an actual operator ready to help. So they're getting a much better return on investment for their spend. And finally, the call centers that we're working with are now employing landing pages, and this is the opportunity to be able to say to a customer, hey, you know, we're on, go to V24/Nigel. They arrive at that page, they can see the page that I'm on, and I can see the page that they're on too. And from here, we can go on a co-browsing session and serve the customer even over telephone with a co-browse feature. And thanks very much.
Thank you very much indeed for that, Nigel. There's certainly some great food for thought there. I think some of the technology has certainly matured very rapidly in terms of what we can do. And we've had absolutely loads, as you imagine, loads and loads of questions. We're going to go and pick up some of those now.
John T, just to let you know, you're very quiet.
Okay, we'll turn up the volume a bit there.
There you go.
And so we've had loads of questions from people coming through. We'll just jump across to have a look at some of those questions, and also a reminder, if you have any tips as well, send those in. We've got a bottle of champagne for the best tip or the best question. We'll jump to a tip. Keith says people will need to be trained on body language if they're using video chat in the similar way as we currently coach people on verbal nods, etc., when on the phone with the customer. Karen, is that something you've been training people on body language, or is it just something that comes instinctively?
Yes, definitely. Our team are trained in body language, presentation techniques, and yes, we cover all those bases when they're going on, because when you are in a two-way video, it can be easier because you're speaking to, but just like face-to-face. If you are in a one-way and you need the customer needs to feel reassured that they're hearing you and they're getting your messages. So yes, it's very much something that we do.
And look, we've got a question here from Niraj, who says, does video chat only used for resolving technical queries in case we need to switch something or off, to do with wiring or something, or would it be useful in some sort of banking environment?
Yeah, so that's an interesting one, and I guess we're all racking our brains trying to think of reasons why we would use video chat. And the interesting thing is and linking this with the previous question, we from the very moment we're born we start learning about body language and about what that means, and so we have this innate ability, or this very early learned ability to understand body language. One of the interesting conversations I had recently with a customer in the insurance sector was that they spend a lot of money training their agents in claims to actually detect, if the customer might be lying effectively. So, if they're trying to claim for something, let's try and detect if the customer is, hesitating, saying the wrong words. Maybe, are they telling porky pies? And the interesting thing that they thought is they immediately saw a potential use for this kind of technology in a claims environment, because if you could add that extra dimension, straight away if you're looking at someone face to face, you can tell if they're lying. Yeah, and so it's quite easy to mask those visual signals if you're just over the phone. So it's not something I think that we could apply right now. That would require, I think, the customers to start opting into a whole load of interactions they're not used to opting into.
Or I certainly think with customer self-service applications, if you've got a claim, someone's questioned your car, take a photo of it.
Exactly.
And then you could, with the geo position, could be quite interesting on that. Shauna said we're planning to conduct mortgage interviews by video chat. So another great use there. Nick's asking the question of Karen, what video response SLA does Shoe work to achieve? And also, what's your average handle time for video?
Okay, well, firstly, average handle time isn't something that we get too worried about. We don't look at it like that from a calls point of view. It takes 20 minutes to help the customer, it takes an hour to help the customer, it takes 5 minutes to help the customer. It's the customer that's important, so getting the resolution for the customer is the most important thing. We tend to find that, and just going back to one of the previous questions about why people connect, for us about Shoe, it's our customers will ask, the same customers that are asking us questions over the phone, over the email, or on the website. Therefore, it's about answering those questions. So it really depends on the query. It really does depend. Mm-hmm.
And in terms of response time, do you have a target of answering 80% within 20 seconds, or?
For video, there's very little that doesn't get answered, because we've got the 17 desks that are there. They ring and somebody picks it up. They're all skill setted to pick up. So there is we don't have a wait time as such.
Okay, very good indeed. So we'll move on to, John is asking a question about technology. As the technology is relatively new to consumers, are there many issues, Nigel, with customers not being able to use the microphone on their PC or tablet? I guess this is, might be helped with this two-way video.
It's a very good question. I mean, there are times when someone might be at work, or they might actually not want to talk directly through the PC. And in those cases, you'd still be able to see the operator, and that you're in a one-to-one engagement, but you would use text chat, so it's like a video chat. But you'd still be able to do the co-browse, etc. in those times.
I think on one of the screens we showed earlier, may have been on Karen's slides, which can be downloaded off the chat room, callcenterhelp.com/chat. There was an option there that said, do you want to have a video chat, or do you want to have a web chat with someone? Which I think is and Karen, remind me, I think it was something like you get 3 video for every 1 web chat, something like that?
Yeah, so 75%, 25% split in favour of video.
Keith says, how long does it take for you to get a pair of shoes to the advisor's desk for a video chat? So you guess that the warehouse is quite close by. Is it about similar to being in a shop?
Yeah, it can be, although the warehouse is massive and the shop stockroom probably isn't. However, it's the same sort of process, yeah. As long as the customer's happy enough to wait, we can go and get it for them. I mean, it doesn't happen in every single engagement, but we try to help as much as we can. I mean, for example, we had one woman last week who was trying to get wedding shoes, and the colour, she was just really concerned about the colour that was shown on the website. So we said, look, let's go and get you a pair and let's just see what you think. And it really helps, a bit like what Nigel was saying about DFS and the sofas. You tend to find that the people who come into an engagement with us feel exactly the same way. And that it's about, again, it's about that in-store experience and bringing a face to the website. So the same questions you would ask if you were browsing in a store, you get the same sort of questions. Everything's like, what's exactly the same?
Very good indeed. Johnny also asked the question, what are the main, Luke, perhaps if you pick this one up, what are the main benefits for the consumer in using video chat over web chat? Johnny thinks that web chat seems to be more of a win-win for the customer in the contact center, cheaper to operate, less intrusive. Luke, your view on that?
Yeah, I guess the cheaper to operate, certainly, web chat's going to be cheaper to operate than video chat for a couple of reasons. You could probably get your agents to do 2 or 3 web chats at the same time rather than, you're not going to get one agent doing 3 video chats. That would just be awkward. Less intrusive for the customer. I think, some of the things that we've spoken about already today, so being able to do a one-way video chat, that takes that barrier away from a consumer's point of view, from a customer's point of view. I think the main benefits to the customer it's seeing the online store, and whether this is banks who are closing branches left, right, and centre, or companies like Shoe, giving the same kind of experience to a customer on their website, at 9 o'clock at night on a Monday, I think the example was, compared to going into store. It's that ultimate convenience, isn't it? So I think in a retail environment, there's that you can see a really, really obvious fit there for the customer. It just opens it up.
Wonderful. Beverly says, how do you do training and onboarding for video agents? Can you remote monitor their video chats? Karen, is that something you can go and dive in the same way as you can listen to a phone call?
Yes. When we do training, we connect with them as if we're a customer and we train them. So we spend, the technology is very simple. It's really simple to use. I mean, we do training on quick navigation of the website. Basically, our team needs to be able to do it quicker than the customer, or otherwise the customer needing help. Just basic selling skills. So we just make sure that the person who's got the new person who's getting trained, they've got the time spent with them. We connect with them on another machine. We train them up. Commonly asked questions, quick navigation, we monitor their individual performance ratings, and it's actually really simple.
And Jeremy asks, if body language plays such an important role in communication, how does one go about evaluating body language from a quality monitoring perspective? Jeremy, is that quite straightforward?
Yes, it is, because each of the operators has got a reporting module about them. So after every engagement, the customer scores each of the operators. They can have league tables. We can actually see from the reporting and the feedback if there's any problems and who's doing it well and who's doing it not so well, and help those that aren't and take advice from those that are. So yes, it's an important part of it that you've got all the metrics behind.
Yeah, and I guess with video it's probably easier to see if you're in rapport rather than if you're out of rapport, which is quite difficult on the phone to get those rapport. You can look at where people are out of rapport, but it's difficult to see quite how tuned they are. I imagine video, you can kind of get the body language a bit more straightforwardly. Question, do you QA the video staff? If so, any hurdles you've had to overcome? I think we've covered that as on the previous question. When do you ask for feedback, and how do you do it after a video interaction? So I guess that after a voice call you can have an IVR type survey. Video feedback.
As the session's actually closed, the customer's presented with a feedback form, and there could be any questions in there, but typically there's 5-star ratings and they'd select a score, so that's where we collect the feedback.
And Luke, I'd imagine there's probably quite good feedback on video compared to other methods.
Yeah, I guess to those early adopters like Shoe, who are obviously trailblazing this kind of technology, there's that you're beating somebody's expectations. There's already been somebody in the forum who said they know where they're getting the next pair of shoes from. I think that's Neris. So I think you're so high above where customers' expectations are of online customer services, and I think the risk to anybody who isn't doing this now is look at Amazon, look at how they are opening this up to all consumers, and in 2 years' time, what's the customer expectation going to be?
So we've got a witty comment from Malcolm here. All operators are young, good-looking people, models even. If I was an operator, I think I'd need a lot of airbrushing to get me to that sort of...
If I could just comment,
sure.
No, actually, no, that's not the case at all. Everybody's an individual. We do expect them to be well presentable, as they would do if they worked in one of our stores. I've just recently, one of my girls is so funky, she's got blue hair, and I'm gutted that she's changed it to dark brown. However, we encourage that. All we say is that you come to work presentable as if you would do if you were working in one of our stores.
Yeah, it's probably exactly like a store. We've got a tip here from Keith. I think Keith's trying to get the most tips in. If it was possible to put someone on hold during the video chat where you're getting stock or checking something, you could let them watch advertising videos while they're waiting. This also helps with specific product marketing and branding. Alternatively, you could use it as another source of income by advertising non-competitor related products, i.e. events, TV, while you're doing that. I guess if you're a multi-brand company like Richard Branson's thing, you could do some cross-selling out there. Do you have? Is there music on hold? Do you have, Karen? If you've got to put people on hold, or do you just leave the room blank when you go into the warehouse?
No, we have. When they get put on hold, there's an image of a photograph of the operator pops up, just saying, "I'm away. I'll be back in a few minutes." Developing the system is something we're always looking at, and I think Keith has actually made quite a good suggestion.
Yeah, there's a very good one. Nigel, is that a development request coming through there?
It is on the roadmap, but it's a long way on the roadmap.
Okay. Nazim saying, what is the typical investment to launch video chat from a technology perspective? Is it per user or per system?
Typically, companies will have the equipment in terms of the PCs and the hardware. They do need to invest in media towers. In our case, we supply media towers, which give the on-air light, the monitors, the cameras, and lighting. So, and typically the entry point's about £600 for that hardware. So it's not high.
And then the software is licensed.
The software is just on a license basis, which includes all the support and knowledge bases and yeah.
And that's a sort of cloud-based model, is it?
It is, yeah.
Okay, wonderful. And then presumably there's the challenge with video, Luke, is that I suppose this is another channel. We had a multi-channel about. We've got enough difficulty managing everything from a reporting perspective. Presumably you guys are busy behind the scenes trying to get consolidated reporting. And
yeah, absolutely. I mean, where this is absolutely an emerging channel, which I think has reached that point now where we're going to start seeing it. I mean, the shoe example is very interesting because, you know, if you start in a very, very siloed approach and you don't have the ability to grow this when it becomes popular, then that's going to hold you back. So absolutely, we're looking at ways of blending this into all the other channels that there are in an effective way. So that's what's keeping the innovations team busy.
So we've got quite a large number of questions. We'll take a few more before we break. And Andrea says, do staff feel isolated? Karen, I'd imagine it's almost the opposite, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Like I mentioned earlier, the video team, they don't sit on their own. If you look back on the slide, you'll see one of our runs of like kind of 6 desks. They're all together. They sit in the one big office where they've got 17 video units, and they're like people who just do calls and emails. So it's very busy. We have a good laugh, building a rapport with the customers is great, helping people. The team actually really enjoy it. So no.
And do you offer a complaints line over video chat? Is there a customer satisfaction difference?
We don't have a complaints line. We have a method for a platform for any of our customers to complain on any of our channels about any experiences from store, website, customer services. So you tend to find that the customer satisfaction on video is way higher than any of our other channels, including text chat, web chat.
I guess that you're less likely to get phone rage in the same way as we don't get pedestrian, pavement rage, but we get car rage, possibly because we can't see people.
Yes, our scores, as Nigel mentioned, the operators are scored on video and text, and by far text chats way below our video chat experience for customers.
Yeah, and I think there's, just to add to that, the pacifying element of having the body language there. I mean, it's the classic example of, taking your sunglasses off if you're having an argument with someone so they can see your eyes. And I think that if you've got that kind of training as well, if you did have a customer who might be fully prepared to scream at you down the phone, as soon as they can see you, they know you're a human, you're not just somebody, a disembodied voice on the end of the line. I think that could be very helpful.
Okay, we've got a question of everyone. Based on today's webinar, everyone was in the investigation phase. How likely would you be to deploy video in your contact center with what you're seeing? If you'd like to put that into your into the box currently, and also while you're typing away, in 1 or 2 words, what did you like best about today's webinar? Keith says it's quite likely that he'll be deploying video chat. Slides, by the way, are also available on Call Center Helper. You'll find this link off the front page. You'll be able to watch the replay. That's the same link as you've dialed in today. So if you want to review any of those presentations, you can certainly do that. We've got some other webinars coming up in the series. Fiona says, I want video now in my contact center. I just need to find some clients who would be happy for it to use it on their behalf. Nera said, a lovely variation of experienced speakers, thank you. Julian says, it looks promising, especially for some of our customers. So Ivar saying, I'm going to recommend it to my leaders, yes. Robert said, a great mix of different inputs. So he said, not likely in the 12 months, very interesting, and would actually see a huge benefit to us and our customers. And Malcolm says, I'll be reporting back to suggest this is a definite way forward. This would give us an edge over our competitors. So I'd just like to thank our speakers, Luke Talbot from Azure, thank you to you.
Thank you.
Thank you to Karen Stevely from Shoe, thank you Karen.
Thank you.
And thank you to Nigel Thomas from V24. And just like to thank everyone in our audience for joining us today, and we'll be back next week looking at the top 5 contact center strategies. Thank you very much, and see you next week at the same time. Bye-bye.